All right, so we need to talk about this Nintendo Direct. This is the September 13th, 2022 Direct. One of the most anticipated, I would say, in quite some time on the rumors of, Metroid Prime. We have expectations, whether they're real or not, of Twilight Princess and Wind Waker remasters. We have expectations of other GameCube titles on the Switch. We have a variety of really blockbuster expectations. Whether or not they're actually rooted in reality is yet to be determined. It's my guess, my summation, that these rumors, these expectations are false. Just scroll through some of my playlists here. I dig deep into that. But let's go and let's take a look at this direct. Now, ahead of time, I just want to let you know that I did crop out a bunch of material I'm not interested in talking about, some of the more forgettable stuff, at least for me. If you're looking for my take on Fire Emblem, you could just go somewhere else right now because I'm not going to talk about it. Same thing with Xenoblade. So anyway, the September 13th Direct, and just off the cuff, let's talk about what we see. Right? So, as if I'm watching this live, and I'm going to try to recapture what it felt like watching this live. So, we have this hugely anticipated direct. I mean, this is huge, just based on where we are right now in the timeline. We're waiting for a Switch Pro, and what do we get? It takes two to tango. Okay. This looks like hot garbage. Now, okay, I understand that this is a very successful franchise. There's a lot of fans of this game. It looks bad. I don't know. Yeah, it's cool that there's a co-op game. There's a couch co-op possibility. Today's day and age, we don't really see a lot of this. And the fact that it actually kind of forces your hand into playing co-op, it forces you to sit on a couch with somebody. I could see past this kind of bad presentation just for the fact that it's going to make you sit on the couch. Maybe you're not next to somebody because you could play locally on Wi-Fi. You could play online, but it's always more fun to play alongside someone and, look on their screen and cheat and all that good stuff from days gone by. You know what? I could look past it. All right, I could look past it. Play co-op with somebody. Really, just it's time that we start doing that again. Anyway, so let's move on here. And what do we see? Fatal Frame. All right, so just I'm going to be picking this one up. I'm going to pick this game up, and I admittedly never really played Fatal Frame. Going back to the PS2 days, I had the opportunity to watch many hours of it being played at different people's houses and things like that when it was brand new. It was always a very breathtaking kind of thing. It was pushing the envelope of hardware and graphical computations back then. At least in my opinion, it looked way ahead of its time. But unfortunately, Fatal Frame existed in a really odd time space where it had to compete with a lot of heavy-duty Resident Evil releases, so we never really got to fully appreciate Fatal Frame. I'm going to be picking this one up the only time this is going to be released in the West. I'm all for it. Now what do we have? Okay, Tunic. Well, if I think of the word tunic, what do I think of? Oh, those are weird crystal-shaped things. What do they look like? Rupees? Who uses rupees that are red and blue and green and wears a tunic? Oh boy, I don't know. It's a really popular franchise. I can't think of the name of it. Oh, right. It's the most, name recognized franchise in probably all of Nintendo history except for Mario. Maybe even tied with Mario at this point. It's Zelda, but you play as a fox. Okay. I included that just because I wanted to harp on it a little bit. Now, Front Mission. Another game I haven't played. A game that I've seen played many, many years ago. This is cool. I like that we're digging up some old games here. For all intents and purposes here, we have a Square game from 1995 being revitalized. Okay, yeah, it's a mech, game. It's a really niche kind of thing, but ultimately, we're seeing essentially ancient franchise being revitalized. That's cool. That means that the old games, the old catalogs are being looked at. I don't really have any cool stories about this franchise, unfortunately. I never played it, but just understanding the fact that we're digging back into 1995, that's cool. So where do we go from here? A Wonderful Life. I know another game called A Wonderful Life. Probably the best farming kind of simulator RPG game I've ever seen and ever had the privilege to play. I've played hours of it on the GameCube. So this is Harvest Moon, right? This is called A Story of Seasons, but this is essentially Harvest Moon. I think the greatest Harvest Moon title ever released. I've played a bunch of them, not too deeply, but Harvest Moon, it's really struggling. Harvest Moon gets overshadowed by Animal Crossing. I don't really understand how Animal Crossing got to be this huge de facto massive title and just completely overshadows all of your Harvest Moon titles. This is just a great game. If it stays true, to the original experience, the music was great. They added some extra stuff here. It's just neat. So, all right, Nintendo 64. This is kind of getting into the territory that everybody was really excited about. What do we see? All right, Pilot Wings. That was a launch title on the 64. We have our parties. We have Party 1, Party 2, Party 3. If anything else, this gives people an option to just play these old titles again. And if I remember correctly, this is going to be released over the holiday season. Pokemon Stadium, huge. Pokemon Stadium 2, this is great. I don't know. We will see if they have any kind of online capabilities. 1080 Snowboarding, classic. Excitebike 64, a little more niche, but excellent game. Had a lot of fun with this. Played many friends and I played Excitebike 64 for hours and hours and hours years ago. And hours watching and playing most of those games that were just showcased. So really cool to see them polished up. But what's everybody here to see? What's the most popular thing we're going to be looking at right now? It's Goldeneye. 007 Goldeneye. If anybody's been keeping a tab on rumors, this is one that kind of came and went, right? Persistent rumors with Twilight Princess, Wind Waker. Goldeneye came on strong and then kind of vanished. We all knew it was coming, so maybe it was just water under the bridge. This will have a simultaneous Xbox release or near simultaneous Xbox release, maybe on Game Pass. But that's awesome. I don't know anybody who hasn't had an N64 experience in the past and played GoldenEye, or at least heard a ton about it. Now, moving on. So more of these weirdly titled Square games. Various Day Life. I mean, what? Okay, this is like in the same realm of Octopath Traveler, Triangle Strategy, which I'm also not going to talk about. Octopath Traveler, Various Day Life, Triangle Strategy. I don't understand what's going on with that. We could do better. We could name games better, at least, So Factorio. This just kind of caught my eye. This is like a Harvest Moon for aspiring, 12-year-old engineers. This is going to be this has to be one of the most super niche games I've ever seen. Aspiring engineers that are 12 years old that happen to know about StarCraft are going to love this game. If you're an aspiring engineer, if you know one in your life, pick up that game for them. I think they're going to really just love it. And they probably won't be able to put it down. So here we go. Miyamoto comes out. What we need to pay attention to here. What we need to really pay attention to. Miyamoto-san has really ascended to a very, very high rank at Nintendo, and deservingly so. When Miyamoto comes out on these directs, in person, wherever, if he's on camera or not, and kind of takes the forefront on any sort of verbiage related to what Nintendo's doing, you should take pause and listen. Now, I did a couple, cursory reviews of different opinions on this direct. The general consensus is, who cares? What is Pikmin Bloom? Pikmin Bloom? Pikmin Bloom? Really? A cell phone? But see, this is where everybody's wrong. They're dismissing this out of hand. Yes, it's a Pikmin game. Yes, it's based on a cell phone. Yes, it's going to be irksome to many gamers. But we have to recognize something. Miyamoto is not going to come out here and present this to us for a rather long period of time. He spends a considerable amount of time talking about Pikmin Bloom. In my prior videos, I acknowledged the fact that we might be seeing Nintendo take a new departure. Okay, so we didn't see the Switch Pro. It's not happening. I'm sticking to that, It's not happening for the same reasons that we're not seeing, well, slightly related reasons. We're not seeing Wind Waker and we're not seeing Twilight Princess remasters. This is why we're not seeing GameCube releases, aside from the fact that the Switch, I don't think, can handle it, right? The hardware limitations. Anyway, Pikmin Bloom people should be laser focused on this presentation right here. Forget about GoldenEye. Forget about Breath of the Wild. Forget it. Just forget it. Focus on Pikmin Bloom. What's actually happening here? Well, Miyamoto comes out, who is a chief executive at Nintendo. To my understanding, nothing happens in terms of Nintendo Entertainment without Miyamoto basically giving his blessing to it. He's coming out and showing you that this is what Nintendo is valuing highly right now. So what is it focusing on? Pikmin. Okay, sure. But what else? We see some maps. It shows where you go. It encourages you to walk around, to engage with your mobile device. This is a lesson in geospatial data. Nintendo is getting very deep into geospatial. Okay, I don't see Sony doing this. I don't see Microsoft doing this. We see Nintendo going geospatial. All right, we're using global positioning systems built into your favorite phone and the numerous satellites in orbit right now, and really just kind of putting a nice smiley face over top of it. What is Nintendo actually doing with this data? And what are they planning? And how significant is it that, you are leveraging a cell phone to do this? And, it's up in the air. I don't have the answers to those questions. I'm just putting it out there. And my strong feeling on this is, if you were to peel back a couple layers of this onion, so to speak, you will find that this is where Nintendo's intent lies for the near future. I don't know how else to describe it. I don't know what hardware we might see, if any. I don't know what it really means for the future of Nintendo, other than I think they have selected mobile devices, 5G, and geospatial as their jumping off point. We saw that they acquired a studio not too long ago which focuses on movies. Kind of out of left field. Not sure how that ties in. They built a new building in Nintendo headquarters. They added on a significant amount of square footage. We see their bill of materials increasing kind of inexplicably. So this all points to a large jump-off point, a large departure point. Miyamoto coming out here and saying, hey, here's Pikmin, but also we're using geospatial data, and we're really invested in it, and we're really excited about it, and you need to be excited about it. You need to go out there, you need to try this, you need to get on this platform, get onto Pikmin Bloom, start walking around, doing all this stuff. Sounds crazy, but you just saw it from the man himself. This is the mastermind coming out and telling you what they value. You should listen. So now we see this next title. It looks oddly like an old Shin Megami Tensei title, and not really knowing too much of the background here, there are a lot of, ghost-related type things out there. Anybody who's watched Yu Yu Hakusho, played Shin Megami Tensei, they're going to see some striking similarities here. I think there was an installment of Shin Megami Tensei where you kind of depart with the whole capturing demons thing, and you're like more or less solving mysteries. That was on the PS2. I could see it being really well received. This is a game that I think a lot of your other content creators were glossing over. This could have a bigger impact than maybe we think at face value. It doesn't really strike me as something I'm going to run out the door to buy, but I think this kind of interactivity and the mindset and the storytelling, this is like a quintessential Spirit Detective moment, and this is the closest thing I've seen to it in quite a long time, and it looks nice. So, I don't really know what to expect of RainCode here, but, it's worth checking out. Maybe there's going to be a demo. I would definitely get the demo and see if it's something that interests me. Now out of left field, wow, okay, Kirby again. Return to Dreamland, right? So we have this kind of middle of the road Wii title being refreshed. Slap a deluxe on it, and we're gonna put it to the Switch for $60 probably. And all right, so yeah, they're hot off the release of Kirby and the Forgotten Land, and so why not? Why not? I mean, this looks cool. I have plans on playing it on the Wii. I have never played it, but this just looks cool. I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. This is something I would probably play. Looks like we have some multiplayer capabilities here. Honestly, I would say a lot of people are probably getting Kirby burnout at this point. We just saw a massive release of Kirby titles hit the Nintendo Switch Online platform for N64. We see some more for the SNES. So why not, right? Check it out, see what's going on. $60 though, that's kind of a high entry point. So, in lieu of any other exciting, kind of good looking Wii titles, this is it. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, we'll see. But February 24th, okay, yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm willing to keep an open mind about Kirby. I know a lot of people like it. I never really got too much into it, but I played some Forgotten Land. Definitely a memorable experience. Really fun to play. Co-op gets a little janky. That's kind of my only negative about it. But so here we have Koizumi getting back to the meat and potatoes of this direct, something that everybody's been waiting essentially years for at this point. And it's Breath of the Wild 2. So Finally, I don't have to see BOTW 2. BOTW 2, Breath of the Wild 2. We all knew it wasn't going to be called Breath of the Wild, right? We all knew that, but we just didn't know what else to call it. So now we can actually call it Tears of the Kingdom. And so let's just look at this. We see some mosaics, I don't know. We see these kind of shard looking things floating around. We see maybe Princess Zelda being resurrected. Who knows what that is? Maybe she's laying in a stasis field or something like that. But more of a really mystical sense of things. Now, floating stuff, floating platforms. It looks like there's a lot of play on the vertical axis in this game. Lots of climbing. So, yeah, there's a world down there. What is this? A spaceship kind of thing. So it looks like there's some kind of interfacing with like an ancient technology. The logo is some sort of serpent that's eating itself. The background there looks like a Mayan calendar. And the title, Tears of the Kingdom, kind of has a little Chariots of the Gods kind of vibe to it. Is this going to be a Chariots of the Gods of Nintendo, of Legend of Zelda? Are we going to see Link interfacing with some kind of ancient technology, which we already saw with Breath of the Wild, but is it going to just kind of keep continuing there? I think they have a hit, of course, with really anything that they choose, but we did see some, years ago, we did see some really curious tentative ideas for what Majora's Mask was going to be. And one of those ideas, I believe, was some kind of like ancient alien visitation type thing. So, let's see. Let's see if they go down that road. But ultimately, we're going to get what we get. And at least we have a date now. So May 23, I don't know. There's so much more content will come up between now and then. We're going to be speculating like crazy into the future here. But anyway, that's my take on this direct. Like I said earlier and really harped on, I think people should be paying more attention to that Pikmin Bloom game. This somehow signals to me this is where Nintendo is putting their money. They're focusing on Geospatial. Everything else is just kind of nice. We all wanted our new Breath of the Wild release. We're getting it. We wanted GoldenEye. We're not getting some of these GameCube titles, but, I told you so. I told you so. I've been telling you so for months. Anybody that's been listening knows that. So anyway, keep it tuned in here. We're going to get some new stuff coming in soon. Until next time, this is Retro Renovo. Like and subscribe if you want to. If not, who cares? Thanks for listening.